Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 95 of the ATL Falcons UK show. Blue Dat, Cal, Q Dat, we had a discussion about what the title should be. All are valid, all are relevant. You all know what we're going to be talking about tonight. We're coming off the back of a stunning last gasp victory. And then we've got the Bucs up in another divisional game next week. So we're just going to run through the lot. First things first, Liam, how are you feeling? Give us your overview of yesterday.
Good. I think, you could have asked me that question during the game and I would have given you several different answers at several different points. Some of them would have been very critical. Some of them would have been very happy. Where it was a back and forth game. We had some moments that went our way. We had some moments that went against us. But I think before the game even happened, it was it's one of them. It's a rival game. It's the biggest rivalry for us during the season. It's a game where the likelihood is it's going to be a battle and a grind fight. That's just the way that game is going to go. Even if the Saints have obviously been far more impressive this year than most people expected them to be. Even if they hadn't been, this game still would have been a battle and a grind because they're going to cope with everything, regardless of how good they would have been. So we just knew what that game was going to be like. It was very unlikely to be anything else than a nerve, nail-biting affair, which is exactly what it was. We came through with big plays from different players, big plays on defense, big plays special teams. We saw big plays on offense from quarterback and some run plays as well, and then obviously Q delivered at the end with immense pressure on his shoulders, and he delivered in a humongous moment, which ultimately just gave us it's about every game is about moments and plays at the right time, and we had one more play at the right time than they did, and that's all it takes. And I loved it.
It is. Just loved it.
I just loved it. I went nuts at that moment.
Honestly, yeah. I'll get to it when we do the rounds. But yeah, we lost the plot. We have Paul in the house as always. Cooey. We are all doing great. Doing great. Thank you for joining us again. And I like that one. That's good. Mark, go on. Let us know how it went for you.
I think I said before I came on, it's very rare these days that I find myself being able to feel my own heartbeat in my bum hole. But that's that was how this game went, and I was always very nervous, as you boys know in the WhatsApp group, that the point deficit continued at 6. And I think if you watch the game and how the game unfolded, I think again, kind of knee-jerk reaction. There were negatives. There certainly were areas of improvement that we need to make as a team ahead of the Bucs, ahead of facing these horrors again. But I guess one of the things that stands out for me is that once again we found a way. Nobody, apart from us, but nobody really batted an eyelid when we lost game 1 to 0 offensive touchdowns. Right? No one cared. Right? We found a way. We continuously found a way to at least keep up a lead throughout most of that game.
Yeah.
I think that the Saints were very smart of how they approached their offensive system against us. I think Taysom Hill going off was big. I think if the Saints continue to use Kamara for as many snaps as they were using against us, then I do not think that he will be playing in game 2. Because that kid's going to end up injured again, just because of the amount that they're workhorsing him.
Yeah.
So for me, the dangers that I talked about last week were there. Olave was constantly a problem. I think for the most part, actually, I think the Saints were fairly efficient. It did seem on a couple of drives that it was just like 6-yard pass, 9-yard pass, 10-yard run, 11-yard run. Like there wasn't. It kind of almost felt in that first half that there just wasn't. There wasn't any stopping them, but we stopped them when it mattered. And big kudos in game management. I think the clock management towards the end, I think there was some questionable decisions there. Stupid penalties throughout the game, and I'm sure we'll get into it, but there was a lot of things that the kind of things that left a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth. I wasn't worried about the field goal at the end. I genuinely wasn't. Like, we've seen Koo hit 54-yarders that clear the ball easily, so I wasn't worried about the extra 3-4 yards. So all in all, actually, I was quite happy with what I seen, with the way that we were moving the ball down the field. We struggled in the red zone, but again, they're an efficient defense as well. And as Liam said, they're not quite the pushover that I think people thought they were going to be.
No.
For me, again, that's another scalp, right? We've beaten another decent team, and on to the Bucs.
Absolutely. Just before we continue, I've got to jump back in the comments because there's some back and forth going on, and there's some puns, and I just need to dip into them. Wayne, as of course you went nuts, as did we, and this is the start of the back and forth, might I add, for the audio listeners. So Paul follows that up with, I got a message to keep the noise down when Koo hit the kick, and Wayne returned with, my wife gave me the look. Now we all know the look, so fair enough. Well done for taking that one on the chin. I'm sure it was worth it in the end. And Paul with another Koo pun. Big kudos, you mean. And he will not apologize. Well, fair enough. Get them all out nice and early. I do not mind at all. Right, before we start to break it down a little bit, I just said off camera, myself and Cal watched 3/4 of the game together. I nipped down to Cal's, and right at the end, we must have fallen behind by about 20-30 seconds because we saw a message from Mark that had not occurred yet, and it was not the winning kick, so don't worry. So for the last 5 minutes, instead of chatting in the group and watching the game, we were like, nope, no more. So we put our phones down and we locked in, and that was even worse knowing that everybody else knew what was happening. Like 20 seconds before we did. It was very, very stressful. Cal, how did you feel? I mean, I know how you felt. I saw it, but I'll let you cover that.
Yeah, I think we both screamed at the same time when that went. Even though, like what Mark said, we should have had confidence, but it's a last minute thing, and it's like a last minute goal in our kind of football. So obviously the pressure is there. Koo's never. I know it's only 4 yards, but he's never hit it over 54 in a game situation. But to do it against your biggest rivals, you can't write that. What a game. Was it pretty? Absolutely not. Do I care? Also, absolutely not at this time. Further down the season, we will have to improve, and we all know that there's obviously a lot of places we can improve. There's a lot of big players that played big games yesterday, though. Anderson, what we'll probably get onto after. Not just his touchdown, but like most plays he did was definitely up there. But what a game, and how exciting it was. The refs is some of the decisions we'll get onto later.
Every week
when you watch them again, you're thinking we probably should have had that. There's definitely a few more that we got called on compared to them, I would say. But there's also the ones like Mark said, that there was a few stupid ones that are like, the game's in our hands. It shouldn't have been 6 points clear. We should have been clearer than that, I think. With Taysom Hill going off at halftime, I think that was massive. I think a bit of a turning point, that they had to change their offensive game with him being out, which obviously helped us. Our defense was sort of lackluster in places. They were good, but then it was like that's simple stuff. And as soon as we stopped the part of the run in the second half, the game did change a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to echo what he said at the start, we did go mental. I'm pretty sure you stood on your sofa. I didn't want to be rude and do that, but I'm almost certain you did. I'm just going to jump back into the comments a little second because it's kind of a talking point, interestingly, I think. So, Gwedge. Offense needs to buck up. The defense has been playing their socks off and bailing us out. A little bit of an interesting one because I don't the previous 3 games, maybe you could have justified that a little bit more. But last night, the D was actually struggling to stay. Like Mark said in his point, it was 6 yards, 9 yards, 10 yards, 6 yards, 9 yards, 10 yards on repeat over and over again. And I think that was one of our biggest problems. We couldn't get them off the field.
And I think it's something to be said, right? Because I said it at the beginning of the game. We need to adjust to stop the run. And they did. It got better against the run. I think where my disappointment on the defense this week was that as soon as we adjusted to stop the run, we were allowing passes everywhere.
Yeah.
And I guess you need to find that balance, right? And listen, you either get the really competent quarterback that is Derek Carr, or you get the bin fire that is Derek Carr.
Yeah.
And this week we seen a quarterback who played relatively competently, right? And he played to the weapons that he had, right? I'm not accepting the defense bailed us out of this game, right? Because they've got a job to do, as do the offense, right? So they didn't, because they didn't play lockdown football, right? We were exposed on both sides of the ball. Yes, we made adjustments. I fully agree with that, but it just didn't feel like this defense were ready for what they threw at us. Pardon the pun.
The counter argument in the comments, and of course, would be, but the D scored all of the points, which is absolutely fair. So I suppose you could flip that and say that in a way they did bail us out because they were the only ones that gave a return. But is that on them, or is that on poor play from the Saints? Or
there's 3 units on a football team.
Yeah.
Right. So take the offense away for a second. So defense scored 1 touchdown. Special teams scored the rest of the points. So special teams isn't defense; it's special teams.
Fair enough.
So let's have it right, yeah. And also, I think a really, really key point here is this conversation is a very different conversation if that weird penalty hadn't been called on Jay Matthews. Which, to be honest with you, if you're calling that for holding,
the game would not exist.
Baffled. You seen the guy from Kansas City literally headlock Matthew Judon last week.
Yeah.
Sorry, but it's a different conversation. And I mean a dramatically different conversation. So I get it, and then again, right? We'll get into some other points, but it's lazy. It is a lazy rhetoric, right? Oh, the offense does need to improve. The defense needs to improve as well.
Oh, we're far from a finished product. We're far from a finished product. We all know that. Ka-ching, got Christy back in. Rise up. It is a good day to rise up. So what we're going to do now, we'll break it down a little bit more. I'm sure we have a few key men that we want to point out. Shout out to Mark's Cup. I always point the wrong way. So Cal leaned towards this in his review, but it'd be mental not to start on Troy Anderson. 16 tackles, 9 assisted, 9 solo, 7 assisted, 9 solo, and then of course the pick 6, and just a monster of a performance overall. even away from that, to be completely honest. Liam, how did you feel about the main man?
Yeah, I mean, he just, put himself about all game, didn't he, really? He's shown glimpses. He's had a few injury issues, hasn't he? But he's shown glimpses of talent here and there in different games. Just hasn't really sort of put it together for a full game or a consistent run. But this is a game where he has sort of put it together. And now I think, if he can stay healthy, which is going to be number one on his agenda, and starts to put together a bit of a run of form, I think we knew we've seen enough to know that, like, when we put together that linebacker core, that if he could stay healthy and be part of it, like, they'd be pretty menacing. Just because they're actually all very quick, and that's kind of like modern day linebackers are. Just that's a lot quicker than they used to be, and he's up there with the quickest. So I think he's just shown now what he can actually do when he sort of gets on a bit of a momentum and plays his game. And I think if he's just about consistency and health for him now. But yeah, huge game from him. It's something that I've been thinking we were going to see. I just wasn't sure when we were going to see it. And he put it together at the time when I would have picked over any other. So I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I was delighted to see how well he did, but I think we need to have it right. And Liam just alluded to it there. He has not put it together this season, like, especially with Landman being out. I think he has been under the microscope a lot more. And actually, I think he's been quite inconsistent. So without wanting to dig on him, because I think it was a great performance. He is now a player that needs to put that together more consistently, because we need it. We know we've still got a couple of weeks until Landman's going to be back realistically. So between him and Ellis, they need to rule that side of the box. So yeah, really, really great to see. I'm praying because I've just got flashing images of Michael Walker and of the like, where we've got these promising young linebackers and then actually they don't develop into anything. So really, 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 really hope that continues to improve.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good point when you mentioned Ellis. Then it's like he had a really good game the other week against the Eagles. It's like you want that to come together. You don't just want one of the guys to be 1 week one's good, 1 week's the other good. Obviously, that's all about the consistency, and that's what we need to get up to. Obviously, it doesn't have to be every single game. It's a long season, but you need them games where they're both performing to the high ability. We will cause a lot more problems on defense. Yeah,
100%. How did you feel when you saw that pick six, Cal? What was your gut reaction? Because I know what it was, but
I'm pretty sure I screamed. But then, where we had this thing in the chat, I thought Anderson looked very slow. Not very slow. He just looked slow. I thought he was like pacing through tarmac or something like that. But he obviously got there.
This is the issue.
And then Liam comes out saying he's rapid. So
he's absolutely rapid.
I know what was it? Was it a 4.42 or something like that he ran, or was it quicker than that?
He was fast.
But that's the thing. I know he is fast, but for some reason that run looked like I don't know whether it was the nerves and anxiety. Maybe it slowed down.
It was. He had the ball. I think he had the ball in his hand in an awkward sort of way for a little bit of it, and he was sort of like stumbling for quite a bit of the run. But he's because he's a unit, so he's a unit.
No one was.
It takes a while to get going. He's when he gets to a speed, he's fast.
I thought the Saints guy was gonna just knock him out of play, and then he just absolutely missed him. So
It's like
pace that actually worked.
That would be an indication of speed.
Maybe it was my team. Maybe it was just lagging behind slightly.
And if you imagine,
I think the way that he curled into it as well, isn't it? So he wasn't running in a straight line. So he almost kind of had to
go on the outside, don't you?
The curl into the sideline and then make a break for it. Do you know what I mean? I think, and that's, to the untrained eye, it probably looked like he actually didn't make up that much ground. But as soon as he kind of hit that home stretch, that's when nobody.
He's just not gonna, like, obviously, like your cornerbacks, for example, like in practice and their careers, they're going to be practicing interceptions, ball in hand, returns. Like that's what they do. Linebackers, especially a linebacker like him, who's not really a pass protector, he's a tackling linebacker. Coverage guy. He ain't going to practice ball in hand, running it for a return ever.
Yeah, but he played running back in college, didn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, he's not going to practice it since. So
No.
So he'll have the ball in hand, like, oh crap, what do I do now? I'm just going to run and see what happens. Like, he probably felt weird in his hand. He's like, what is this thing? But he got there. That was the main thing.
Yeah, we got Paul in the comments saying he feels like the Saints tackler ducked out of the play.
I duck out of tackling, Anderson, as well.
Yeah, and I like this one. Last Aints tackler made a business decision. Correct. Because I'm not risking my shoulder and head.
He's a big man.
Off a man. Oh dear. Right. Well, that's enough. That's enough praise for him. Like we said, he's not been the most consistent this season, but hopefully that's a springboard for more things to come, because we had high hopes for him when we first brought him in, and like you said, he's been injury stricken really and a little bit unfortunate. So hopefully that's the adrenaline boost that he and we all needed at the same time. I'm going to move on to the offense for a little bit, just because I'm a little bit sluggish. How are we feeling about Kirk now? He's got a few more snaps under his belt. In my opinion, he got given buckets and bags and acres of time on a lot of plays last night, like 6 seconds, give or take, on multiple occasions, which is really reassuring, because at the moment in time, whilst we're not too sure how mobile he is, but does he need those 6 seconds, or is he overutilizing the time? Because I thought a few times, release the ball, and it just felt a little bit.
Well, I mean, how many did you go for? 260 yards? I think in the end.
He's like exactly the same as Derek Carr or something like that. Both threw the same amount of yards.
238, 60% completion, 1 interception.
Yeah, and I think if we just rewind ourselves a little bit, right, back to week 1, he was, and I think it helped with Storm Norton being there, because he's much better in pass protection than he is in run, right?
Yeah.
But if we think back, there was a lot more efficient passing on offense. The problem with it was, and I think we kind of had an idea about this against the Saints, they were going to try and stuff the run, and actually, probably the biggest success we had, apart from that TD that got choked off, was when 25 was on the field, like because we utilized him like we said we were going to utilize him, and actually we should have done that more, right? So if we just think for a second, right, we're throwing the ball more, Kirk's throwing it efficiently, he's not scared to take deepish shots.
Yeah,
we're starting to see Algier in the game a little bit more, right? So it does kind of feel like week on week we're putting it together. And don't get me wrong, I'm not happy about not scoring an offensive touchdown, right?
No, of course.
But we continued to get down the field enough to put points on the board. And I'm frustrated more than anybody. I did watch a little bit of film. On the little bits of film I've watched, it really does look like Pitts was getting doubled in that on those short routes.
Yeah.
So that was obviously allowing Kirk to target other people. Ray got another good couple of receptions again this week. Mooney again. Sorry guys, but I'm drifting away from overpay. If I'm honest,
that's
kind of in that,
delivering. Yeah.
I'm kind of in that. Like again, London utilized a lot. So we came into this season going, Christ, Desmond Ridder throwing the ball about 3 times a game to Drake London and 2 times a game to Kyle. Kyle Pitts had a couple of targets, but I genuinely think the Saints targeted him, and we took advantage elsewhere. Still work to do on the run game, but again, I'm sorry, but I'm seeing progress. It's not quite there yet.
Yeah. It would have been. Go on, Liam.
I was going to say just on the Kirk Cousins question that if anybody who's watched Kirk Cousins' career to date and thought that we were going to get smooth sailing hasn't watched Kirk Cousins. Because he will have your heart in your mouth most games, because he is a very much a
gunslinger,
an all or nothing guy that he can give you absolute like horrible things and absolute amazing things week to week, player to player. Like he does look, the reason why he's not been ever considered like a top quarterback like in his career is because sometimes he just has some bad moments, but he counters them with really good moments, and everyone's like, oh my god, what a pass that's a pass that only 5 guys in the league can make, and then like 5 plays later he's like throwing an interception to somebody's chest. It's like that's just what you're going to get with Cousins, and what you're hoping for throughout the season is that he throws enough of the good ones to outweigh some of the things he's going to do. So at least that's what we wanted though. It's a sport for big plays, and big plays win your games at the right time. And if he's going to make, he's made mistakes so far this season, but he's made big plays in big moments that have now won us like 2 games. And so that's what you need enough of throughout the season, and we'll be fine. But
what I can't think of is a game losing mistake.
No, he's not thrown
for us.
He's not thrown critical interception late in the game that's turned the tide or anything like that.
The only thing that comes to mind is if he did make that 4th and 1 call against the Chiefs. But again, like
but he could have made that exact same call and it could have worked. So
exactly. Yeah, of course. It's a game of inches, right? Yeah. So I just it was a bit of a rough day in the red zone, right? But you're not in field goal range repeatedly if that offense doesn't move the ball down the field. So
no,
I'm just not in the mood to dick on them. If we lost the game, okay, maybe I might have had a few more things to say, but just we're moving it. We're moving the chains. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And Mooney's hands have been. He's had some issues in his past where his hands haven't looked too good. He's had some drops on them deep balls, and now he has been sure-handed so far as Mooney. With some fantastic plays.
I feel like it's Kirk's safe bet at the moment, where they know London and Pitts are the you'd say the main 2 guys to aim for at the time. I think even McLeod as well. I think he's the players that they don't expect to get many receptions, and they obviously are doing because they do create the gaps, which is obviously good to see. I think my biggest pet peeve with like the run game at the moment is, like you say, Algier got brought in, but I feel like they left it like second half or like late first half, and I feel like they tried to work out how Robinson would do against their defense first and see if he can break in the holes, and then if we need to use Algier, that's what it looks like they're doing to me. But I feel like yesterday it was quite obvious straight away it wasn't working, but obviously it worked in the end, which is obviously good. But I feel like they can definitely bring him in sooner.
I definitely think that's what they're doing. I can sort of understand it that your number 8 overall pick, you want to this superstar, you want to sort of keep using him, even if it's not working. Like there's a temptation to keep using him because of who he is and the sort of the tag that he's got with him and stuff like that. And maybe that's why I could think, if we go to Algier like early and he outweighs the carries by like double or whatever, people start going, like Algier's RB1 now, like Bijan's a bust, and that's what you'll get from some people.
They've got such a different skill set, though.
Yeah,
such a different skill set. They keep running Bijan down the throat and smack down into a wall in the middle. And that's just not his game. He's not going to power through. Well, he does occasionally, but in general, he's not going to power through a wall of people. Whereas Tyler's dragging 4 people behind him whilst he's running through. He only got, not only, but he got 60 yards yesterday. But watching the game, it felt like he got about 200 because the ones that he did get, he was just bulldozing through. And that's not Bijan's game, but Algier's game is not tippy-toeing and snapping 2 people's ankles. So I just feel the variance is a little bit bizarre.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm not sure whether I agree with they're just putting him out there because he's Bijan. Because I think that touchdown that got called back, that's why Bijan's on the field.
Oh, yeah,
that was all him, right? and I think the more that you put him in that situation, the more of those things are going to come. And I think I kind of feel like a bit of a broken record, but they need to find the balance with it, right? So if they're going to run something up the middle, it needs to be Tyler. But it's not as easy as that because you can't just swap subs in and subs out if you're against the play clock or whatever. I know it probably sounds easy, but it isn't, because you've got to make sure that you've got the message to the right person to come off the field, and you don't want to be getting delay game penalties and stuff like that. So I see what you mean. I just think the logistics of it are difficult because that means Tyler's going to have to be out there a lot more. But then on the other side of the coin, I go, well, that isn't necessarily a bad thing because Tyler's a big dude and he can block. So
I was going to say that. Plus, you've got, if you wanted to use Algier on certain plays, Robinson can catch the ball like he did yesterday a few times.
Yeah, get them both out there.
So you can use, can use both of them a lot more.
But
I feel like that is what the working that out still, like it is only game 4, and the working out how to use both of them still. And I feel like it will. In the upcoming weeks, we'll see a better efficiency between them.
But ironically, the play that will be shown the most from yesterday from Tyler wasn't a run. He caught it out in the flats and then darted.
With you, I was trying.
Listen, I'm being facetious, right? But I think what it adds to is have him on the field more, and if that means that you've got to pie off one of your blocking tight ends, then do it, because arguably Algier could probably do a better job at it anyway. So I guess they have to find the balance with getting 25 and 7 on the field at the same time. That to me is the key. I don't think it's give Algier the ball instead of Bijan if you're going to run it up the middle. I think it's bigger and it's wider.
Utilize them both on the field at the same time and leave defense
in the run and in the pass.
What on else is going on? Yeah, and get that. We'll move on to the next one. However, I don't really have a specific name. I've got about 10. So is there anyone that people want to key out so I don't miss anyone that you want to talk about? I'll let it free table at the minute and then we can roll.
I just, and this may be a little bit off piste, Danny, but I'm just going to put it out there now because it's on my mind. I'm offering £100 reward for anybody that can find me an answer to where Rukaroro and Brandon Dawless are.
In the comments, all 150 odd people that are currently watching live.
Because I'm sorry, but I don't get it. I don't get it. Right?
Yeah. Rook played in pre-season, got a sack, golden, vanished.
So why is that question not being asked? Because they're not on the injury report. They're just inactive.
Yeah.
So is it just that they're not ready? Because we've got other options. So
I guess if your draft, I mean, Dawless was what, 4th round? So okay,
right. Second.
you traded up for Rook.
Yeah.
And right, fine. I know you had a bit of a shoulder injury at the beginning. These guys should be getting snaps. We're into the season now. They played preseason, or at least Rook did. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Rook did.
I'm baffled. I'm genuinely baffled. Like, if we keep working Grady and Dio all the way through the season, they ain't going to see the end of it.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
And with how old Grady is, I think it's infuriating because now from picks from round 1 to round 5, we're not seeing any of them.
No. I do think even if it's not the specific players, I do think the principle of that is an issue. So we've got a whole draft class just not touching grass, which is a little bit concerning because if you've got an unbelievable roster and you just heads and shoulders above the rest of the league and rookies couldn't get near it, you'd understand. But that's not who we are or where we are. So it's a little bit unusual.
I guess it's just like, we've got obviously, Grady is technically playing defensive end, essentially. And then Onyemata's playing. And then we've got whatever Smith Williams is playing, and then Zach Harrison's playing. So ultimately, you'd have to take one of those guys out to actually give them any sort of time. Like, and are we just saying that that's enough with those 4 guys sort of in rotation?
Yeah.
Well, I would rather you blood them in for a couple of snaps every game.
Yeah.
Than waiting until Grady's in 15 bits and Dio the same.
Going in the deep end.
Yeah.
Come on, I mean we're paying these guys. I mean these guys are getting older. They're on pretty big money, right? Like, why are you trying to dismantle them by game 8?
Yeah. I do, however, have to jump in the comments, Mark, because you put that offer in and therefore people have come running. So
nobody's answered my question because I've been reading them as they've come in. Nobody's answered.
I mean, technically, Atlanta.
Technically,
is correct.
He might live outside of Atlanta as well. So
yeah.
We've got on the sidelines, which is not actually explicitly true because they're not even on the sidelines. Unfortunately, you can't have money for that. Yeah. There we go. Christie's got a very fair point. They can't make more mistakes and penalties than what we're already seeing. It's fair. Like, they're not going to come on and we're not going to go, oh my God, that was the worst thing I've ever seen because we already see bad stuff.
But I'm not asking them to go on for drives. I'm asking them to go on for 10 snaps a game.
Yeah.
10 snaps a game. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Their job is to get to get through the offensive line, get at the quarterback stuff to run. Like,
100%.
And Rook got a sack.
He did.
Season as well, didn't he?
And it was a good one as well. It was a slam.
I'm just
point. There's a fair point in the comments. Not that I'm trying to justify the treatment or situation surrounding the rest of them, but Trice would have probably been the most likely man to start, just based on squad depth, roster depth, and what we needed.
Yeah,
it was of course the 3rd round pick, and we had Rook who was 2nd and 4th for Brandon.
I think one of the things I did though was prompt the trade for Judon.
100%.
I think they probably take Judon's deal, which means that Bryce then comes back to play on the opposite side as Judon.
Doesn't surprise me, Rook. I don't think. I just think even when they picked him, it felt very projecty talent over readiness sort of thing. Like, just because he was not the player that was NFL ready at that point in that position when we were talking about who's being picked. They picked him thinking, I think we've got enough on our roster to not force him in. We're gonna, work on him as a project to get he's obviously, because his physical ability, no one was ever questioning. It was more his skills and coach, with things that need coaching, and maybe just take it a year to refine him with the idea of him coming out next season with a starting role.
Yeah,
maybe.
Sure, right. But lads, if Grady or Dio go down,
we're fucked.
Then he's not going to have any choice. So my point is in this, and it's exactly the same conversation, right? And obviously, that when we think about QB, right, we know that if Kirk goes down, we've got somebody who's going to come straight in, right? Now we accept that Penix is a project, right? But if you're the next man up, you're the next man up. So I don't have any problem. No, actually, sorry. What I've got a problem with is them being inactive. That's what I've got.
Yeah, But if you think about it from depth chart perspective, like they're not the next man up, or even the next man up after that. They're way down the list, so they're not. Even if someone gets injured, it ain't going to be them according to the depth chart. So we've got Eddie Goldman above both of them guys. We've got Taquan Graham above both of them guys. I don't know whether they actually are in reality, but like depth chart wise, you're supposedly they're not even in with a sniff. So I don't know, but I just think they must be maybe they're not saying enough for him to think that he's ready. I don't know, but protecting him, I don't know what it is. But the one thing that I think and there's somebody who mentioned it in the comments is I never thought I'd say this after some of his issues at times, but we really want to see Drew Dolman back. I just don't want to see much more of Ryan Newsall, really, because I don't think he's very good. He did enough. He did enough, but some of his bloody mistakes with like shifting the ball around and all sorts of stuff. I was like, come on, man, you're a veteran, like get a grip of yourself, and you can't be doing stuff like that.
We're talking about
he's,
I was reading about
silly things,
left-handed centers and all that jazz though, and how much it disrupts play, and I was like, I can't be bothered with technicalities like that. Let's just win some football games.
Yeah, just you can't be making mistakes. I hate mistakes like that. Like obviously some people make mistakes like by poor tackling or whatever. The hold now and again will happen, face masks will happen, like it's just an in-play thing, but silly like coachable mistakes like not winding up and moving the ball, and it's like we shouldn't be doing as many as we are of those type. And it's not just us doing it this season, they're obviously all over it, and there's a lot more all over the league, but they just really frustrate me. And I know it's obviously a lot harder actually in reality than it looks to be on the right line and the right position at the right time when it's all adrenaline and things being rushed. But obviously that's the one thing that they do really practice is these formations and join it into them. And we need to just tidy it up a little bit.
Yeah. Dolman got put on IR, didn't he? So he'll be out for.
Yeah, I'm not confident in Newsall at all, to be honest. But maybe he'll surprise me. Maybe he's just a bit rusty.
Yeah, it's always a possibility. Always a possibility. On that note, I think we'll jump into the Bucs so we don't overshoot the show. Another divisional game coming up. Bucs sitting at 3-1, absolutely tatered the Eagles with a slight comeback of points nearer the end. How are we feeling, Cal? I'll let you go heads in first.
They look pretty solid, don't they? To be fair, I've not watched them in depth, but I don't think anyone expected them to be 3-1 at this point. They look quite a solid team. It's obviously going to be Thursday night football. It's at our place, which obviously helps for us. Be another close game, but I feel like it's one of them games where our offense will have to perform better this week to beat the Bucs. I think the Bucs do look better than the Saints, especially offensively. They will score more points, I think, or they'll have more opportunities to score more points. So I feel like our offense will definitely have to put a bit of a show on. Our defense will have to it will obviously have to improve. There's got to be improvements over, but they do make mistakes, which I've seen from the highlights as well. So there is definitely places where we can target.
Yeah.
I guess I don't think they're as strong on the run as the Saints are.
No, that's the one benefit that where they will be throwing the ball a lot more, and obviously we don't want sort of second half performance on throwing the ball from yesterday. But
no, but and listen, you know, I think there's a lot to be said. You know, you got QBs around the league, and I'm sure you guys have seen the memes, right? But like, you know, I think Sam Darnold, Gino, and Baker are like 8 and 2 between them, right?
Yeah,
or maybe more. And I guess there's a lot to be said, right? You know, Baker got absolutely cast out by the Browns. We even talked about Baker on this show, right? And I think what Baker's proven is that not only is he resilient, but you put him in the right system, and he's a damn good quarterback. Like you can't get away from it. And Mike Evans is arguably, for me, probably one of the best and most consistent receivers of the past 10, 15 years. So
even
you know,
even with their age, even with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans' ages, like there's still one of the best.
Fantastic,
like 1-2 combos.
Definitely. And they added some very solid veterans behind them in like Sterling Shepard, who's obviously, you know, kind of didn't really materialize. But if you think about Sterling Shepard as a third choice, pretty good. And I think with the running back situation, obviously Rashad White had an awesome season last year, but I think that for me was a little bit of a blip. I don't think he's like elite as he looked last year. But they did draft Bucky Irvin, who I think they've realised is because I was very surprised where he went in the draft, because he was like an all American in his like last couple of seasons. He like really highly rated, but he's not that fast. And I think people look at it and go, well, he's not fast, like he can't be a running back. But he just brings other things. That's what people look at it and go, oh, he ran a 4, whatever it was. It was way down in the list of what like a running back can run. And they've gone, oh well, he can't be that good. Like he's like, I think the Bucs have gone, oh, we've got a tandem now. Like he's clearly like showing that he's and that when you've got 2 running backs to worry about with sort of different skill sets, that does change it a little bit for us and makes it a little bit harder against the run. You haven't got somebody like Kamara, neither of them are that type, but there'll be a challenge. And then obviously the receiving core, that's what is going to be a big challenge for us.
The key challenge against the Bucs for me is how we handle Vita Vea. Like that man is an absolute bulldozer. And you know, I kind of hoped his injury might keep him out for a couple more weeks, but you know, fair enough, he was back. And I think one of the things about the Bucs that we can say is, look, you know, they haven't fared well on the road. You know, they got an absolute pasting off Bo Nix, right? You know, but then again, arguably you could say, you know, that Denver defense is very good. So I think Cal is spot on. I think it is going to be a close game. But I also think that I'm not as confident that they're going to be as astute in coverage. I think that we might be able to run the ball better, but again, with Vita Vea in the middle of that line, you do not want to be running that ball up the middle, in my view, which is why we need to target outside runs and powerful outside runs. So I would hope that 25-7 are going to get a good, I wouldn't say an even split, but a good split. And I think the key is making sure that we try and handle Vea. So I would imagine Lindstrom's going to have a few ice baths come next week, because he will. I would imagine they're going to have to double up on him between him and Musil. That they're probably going to have to, lads. You know, truth be told. So Again, I think it's winnable. I'm not sure that the Bucs are a warranted 3-1 team. I think they've played really well so far. But I still think we've got enough in the tank to get another W.
Yeah. I think it will be a hard matchup for that O-line. We've obviously faced the Eagles, so we have a decent bearing of what their offense is like. And Hurts got sacked 6 times and then 7 tackles for losses as well, and that's a pretty heavy blow. We saw what I'd consider as a pretty steady O-line yesterday by our standards. But I also don't think, not even against the Chiefs, were we pressured to that extent that the Bucs pressured the Eagles to yesterday. So I think that'll be a really interesting matchup.
I agree. But I think, where the Eagles are concerned, they are getting more and more toothless on offense, right? Yeah. So, they lost AJ Brown. The Saints decapitated Devontae Smith, right? So their options now for Hurts, and yes, he did get sacked a lot, but I don't know if any of you guys watched the highlights of that game. Hurts didn't. He wasn't even doing enough of what he did against us and the Saints, which was use his legs. That pocket was just compacting around him. And I must have watched at least 3 of those 6 sacks, just him sort of standing, sort of doing a little merry jig in the pocket while it was closing around him, and then taking the hit because he didn't get the ball out quick enough. And it's because the caliber of receivers that he's got left, or it's Saquon or nothing, right? Yeah. So I don't get me wrong. The Eagles started that game awfully. The Bucs took a really, really resounding lead. And then it was always an uphill battle for the Eagles. I don't think it's a fair reflection to say the Bucs murdered the Eagles. I think the Eagles were their own worst enemy in that game.
Assisted suicide. They did it to themselves.
and I'm just having a little look. Yeah, I just want to mention just before we move on. So you look at the Bucs results so far. They murdered Washington, right? And we know Washington aren't great on defense, right? So they murdered them 37-20. They crept past the Lions by 4 points, 16-20.
Yeah.
Got mullered against the Broncos 26-7.
Yeah.
And like we just said, right, they've done a job on a very, very depleted Eagles team. And it always fills me with joy when I see CJ Gardner-Johnson, giving up 4 touchdowns in a game. It's absolutely fabulous, right? So it's one of those things where I just go, I'm not saying they don't deserve to be 3-1 because you just play who you.
If you win it, you are, yeah.
But I'm not sure they warrant a lot of the plaudits.
Yeah.
That they're looking at right now. I think they're a good team.
Yeah.
And we need to be better.
Fair enough. The only thing I'd say to counter that a little bit is at least they've had a few reasonably confident wins. Like our 2 wins have come by 2 points and 1 point. It's not that we've not deserved the wins or anything like that. It's the same as goes to them, but we've not had any comfortable wins yet, and at least they've been able to put points on the board regardless of who they're playing against. Of course, our first 4 games, our first 5 with this one upcoming are arguably probably the hardest run we'll have all season. But even so, a 2-point win and a 1-point win is not like filling me with confidence.
But that's where I think if the offense was even 10% better, even yesterday, we're clear of the Saints yesterday, I think.
You're right.
Like even the Eagles, I watched all that and I was like, we deserve to win this. We was in the game throughout and we deserved it. It was just them little points on offense that we could have been clear in that game as well. But obviously it's a sport of inches, like everyone says. It's literally so close at times, and it would be good to to have a comfortable win, and I'm hoping it is Thursday compared to.
I think we've been saying that for about 2 seasons, lads, haven't we?
It's getting boring now, isn't it? What on earth? Got Wayne in the comments saying it's nice not to lose in the fourth quarter. It is a nice feeling. I don't want to jinx anything. I keep getting shouted at in the group chat for almost jinxing stuff, but we have moved away from that a tiny little bit, even if it's not permanently. It's progression, because usually if it's fourth quarter and it's close, we've kind of just resigned in the past, whereas this time we look like we've still got gas in the tank, which is very reassuring.
Well, I think Raheem used this word in that sort of locker room speech. Resilience. Yeah. And Falcons haven't looked like we've had resilience in a long, long time. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, we've got a culture here of going, right, well, chips are down this fourth quarter, and we're probably gonna, like, if you think to all of our games, really, so far this season, yeah, they've been close, but we've always been in it towards the end, and two of which, the two losses that we have, arguably, against the Super Bowl champions, and one of the top 3 defense in the league. So again, I'm kind of like, yeah, I know, I really want a game where I'm not, counting my pulse out of my boxer shorts, but it's we've got to. I think we've just got to be realistic about where we are.
Yeah,
I think one of the points Danny said about, which I would have agreed to him at the start of the season, about this was like our hardest bunch of games, but with how some of the teams are doing what we have to do now, things have changed. And I think that's the thing with the
1000%
strength of the schedule. It is partially bullshit, to be fair. I think it depends on how people. No one would have put the Vikings 4-0.
No,
a few other teams have got to play that do look decent this year. Even the Panthers they look trash in the first few games, but they look better than.
They're competitive.
Yeah, compared to what I thought they would have been. Who did they beat last week? I can't remember.
Who did they beat last week? They beat somebody. Oh, the Raiders. It was the Raiders.
Yeah. And then they pulled off a few wins as well. But it's one of them. I think it is. It's everyone goes on about it, but I feel like it's still got quite a few tough games to go.
Yeah, it's tough because some of them teams are getting a bit of a head of steam, right? But I think as well, by the time we play them, some of them aforementioned teams, it's going to be really interesting to see how some of these head of steams continue, right? No one pegged the Vikings to be top of their division. Nobody pegged Washington to be there top of their division, right?
No.
But, I think it's and we said it against the Chiefs last week. It doesn't really matter, right? And again, if we're still in it in the fourth quarter, we're almost. And maybe I'm jinxing it here, Danny. So I apologize. But you kind of go. You kind of go. 2 years ago, if we were.
We've lost him.
If we were what? If we were what?
If we were.
I wonder what we were.
We'll let him come back. Do you know what? He's lasted a long, long time because he said that his internet. Oh, there we go. He's back. Right, we got Mark. We got. If we were.
Okay, right.
So I can take it from there. That'd be great.
Cool. If we were in the fourth quarter and up by 3, or up by 6, up by 7, we'd be like, how are we going to lose this, boys? How are we going to lose it? And now it's the opposite, right? We're going in the fourth quarter either with a lead or a couple of points behind, and we're going, no, we just need the ball back.
Yeah.
So I think that is a very, very big shift change in a really, really short space of time.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. We have got a newfound confidence where we were actually just saying, just let them score, just so we have that bit of extra time on the clock instead. Whereas previously, I wouldn't have even bothered either way because it wouldn't have been worth the anxiety of having time on the clock because it's just another round of stress instead of just losing the game.
Yeah.
We'll do a little tiny whip around of predicted either scores or results if people don't want to be really specific, but go on. Cal, you can start us with your score or just win and loss, depending on how confident you are.
I'm going to go with a win because I went with a win at the start of the season and I can't really change my mind now.
Oh, yeah, true.
But they are obviously doing better than I thought they would have been doing. But like it's going to be a 3-point game again. And I think that's it. 24. No, I'm going to go less. 2017 maybe. I don't know. It's going to be low. It's going to be lower. It's going to be under 20s, I think.
Okay. Liam?
Oh, no.
I think we'll win. Because I said that at the start, I think we'll win.
Thank God for that.
I'm going to go like with a more like quite high scoring, like us in the early 30s, them in the mid to late 20s, around that sort of mark. I think. I feel like they're going to put up points because they have been doing. They've got good offense. It's high powered. It's got receivers. It's got but I think we'll also put up points against that secondary.
Fair enough. That is confident by your standards. I love it. When you're confident, we should all be. I should be saying 60-0. Mark, go on.
Mark's a negative one, isn't it?
No, you must be joking. I've tried to be as objective as I can tonight. But no, I think we do beat them, and I'm going to say 28-23.
I kid you not. That is the exact score line I had lined up, ready to go. And
let's just double it up.
There we go. That is really, really bizarre. I was genuinely going to say the same thing. That's infuriating.
Do you know I started doing my head? I started going like 28, 25, and then my horrible brain started going, how are they going to get 25 points? So then I started doing the
maths instead.
And then I was like, oh no, that's probably unlikely. Oh no, so I had to just try and settle on a number. But yeah, I think Cal's spot on. I think it is going to be, a close game. So yeah, let's go 2023.
Yeah,
I'm really interested on comparing the predictions from last week. So I'm going to go back and watch the video because I've got a feeling I was really close to my prediction from last week.
I can't remember, but we don't do that enough. So yeah, maybe we should skip to the end of last week's show and do a little tally of it so far. I'm just going to jump in the comments real quick and get some other people's scores. We've got Paul, one of our regulars, on a 30-20 win. Why not? That's fine with me. And then we've got two. We've got Wayne and we've got UK Falc, both on 24-21 wins, which is awfully close. Agonizingly close. That would be horrible for the anxiety. And then we've got Christy on 2016. I agree, will be a dogfight. But there's no reason we can't do it. It's a divisional game. We're coming off the back of a win, so hopefully we can keep rolling with that. We're going to move on to any other business. I didn't have any at the start of the night, but somebody has put in the private chat that they have some. So I'm going to let whoever that is go ahead, although it's not named. So it's one of the three of you.
Is it? Why would it be named? That's so weird.
Yeah, it's just a top.
Obviously, Raiders with Crosby and Adams. There's a lot of rumours saying there's 5 weeks to the trade, and I think if Adams' contract next year is big, 38 million. I think I was watching one of the games last night, and they were saying depending how the Raiders are doing up till that point, can anyone see them trading? I can definitely see them trading Adams, but depending how they're doing, if they went 6-2 by then, obviously I can't see them doing it. But if they are like seasons on the cuff, or we're not going to get to the playoffs. I can see
Mm.
one of them moving on.
Do you mean? Are you saying? Do we trade for either of them, or do you? Or do you mean...
No, I'm not like no. We won't. I can't see us doing it. I just feel like, do you see any other team doing it?
Right. I was going to say.
Or which team, like if you've got a team in mind, which you'd think would pull on them?
I think if they trade, but I can see them trading Adams because he's a total bell sniff. And I can't imagine that he's a great locker room guy. Seems to be very much focused on himself. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them trade him anyway. If they trade Crosby, for me, that's them setting fire to the entire franchise because he's like the one shining light in that franchise. I'm not quite sure where I would envisage Crosby to.
Oh, he's gone again.
Oh, he's gone.
No, I don't think they can Crosby.
Oh, he's back.
He's back.
No, he's not.
No, I'm back.
He's back. He's back.
I could.
Oh, come on.
That's just teasing now.
That's like a joke. He's clicking pause. Go on, Liam. Take over if you want.
Good.
Is he back? He's back.
Go on, Liam.
I was going to say, I can't. I think they'd be like Crosby's got. I think he's got a couple more years or whatever it is on his contract or whatever it is. Like they'd have to put up. So whoever trade, if they were going to trade for him, obviously it would depend on how much like Crosby's kicking off. I can't imagine he's the type to kick off too much. It didn't come across that way. And then, with for a player who's not out of contract, like being probably a top 4 pass rusher in the entire NFL, probably.
Yeah.
He's going to carry a hell of a lot of value for someone to have to stump up at. And I don't know if anybody's going to pull the I don't know what the Raiders would ask for, but surely they'd ask for some serious stuff for somebody who's in a contract, still in his 20s, putting up numbers season after season.
Yeah.
I feel like they might be interested. They could be interested in trading for a lot of value, but also I don't think there'll be enough teams or enough time to sort out what that deal could look like at this stage of the season. I think they'd ask for too much. Teams wouldn't be quite willing to, and it'd just fizzle out, I reckon.
Yeah.
Adams, though, like Mark said, I think there's a chance Adams could go on the basis that he's older. He's talked about leaving a couple of times. He wants to win because he's older and he's not won. I think they'd give up a bit less, for to get rid of him. I don't think they'd be as bothered. But again, he's by far their best receiving option, their best offensive player by a country mile. So if they give away, even if they get rid of him, they're still absolutely shooting themselves because they ain't got anything else at all. But I mean, there's not one player, especially a receiver, is not going to win you at all. So maybe they just pull the trigger now.
It's fair enough. It's fair enough. There's your answer, Cal. No to the Falcons. Not that any of us thought that.
It was just because it got mentioned yesterday, and I thought it's a talking point that Adam like big deal, but I can't see anything else. But you never know.
Sorry.
I'd just like to point out obviously after we talked about it at the start, but the sporting weekend I've had needs to be mentioned with Warrington Wolves, my rugby team, won on a golden point in extra time in the last second golden point. Yeah. Alabama won with 13 seconds to go on a touchdown, and Falcons won with the last second with a field goal, all in the same weekend. So I've had a good one.
That's an unbelievable weekend.
Yeah.
How you can actually pretty much mirror that, can't you? Go on, I'll give you both your moments because my other sports team are dreadful. So go on.
Yeah, obviously Arsenal pulling two last minute goals in, but more like my local team, Bury, that played a team 3 divisions above in the FA Cup. and we beat them. Got a penalty in the 90th minute, and to make us go into the 4th qualifying round. So that's quite an exciting one. Even though the draw today was pretty shit, but we'll just but no. And then obviously Falcons are last couple of seconds. So yeah, decent weekend for sport.
That's lovely for you two. I don't like watching Manchester United anymore, so I'm not even going to talk about
that. I mean, I just want to add in as well. Newcastle, good result, and then seeing Man United's misery yesterday.
all right.
Was equally as joy-inducing. So yeah, good weekend all around, boys.
I've got host powers on this live. Don't you forget that. I can click kick at any time. Just going to jump into the comments real quick before we wrap it up. We've got another prediction against the Bucs of 28-21 win again. So a lot of confidence coming through us. I would like to note that before the Saints game, we did a poll and 94% of people said the Falcons would win. So whoever that 6% are, we had that. Mark, your internet's getting absolutely criticised, but you did pre-warn us. To be fair,
awful. So. But I live in the middle of nowhere. I just want to quickly say on one of the comments, I'm going.
Mark is representing us this year.
Yes, sir. Paul, if you're around in London, drop us a DM. Let's have a pint.
Absolutely. Mark, unfortunately, is the sole representative this year, which is really sad. This is the first time in 4 years that we've not been down.
And it's weird because I was only going because one of my best mates is a Jets fan. Because I like to surround myself with other people who like misery. And he's actually dropped out, so it's just me and another one of my friends who's a Steelers fan. Again, misery.
Nice.
And like we only went because it was Glenn's team, because Glenn supports the Jets, right? And now what a game! What a game to be watching! And I love seeing Aaron Rodgers put on his ass. So like,
and the Vikings have more sacks than anybody else in the league. So
yeah.
Get ready for that.
It's going to be a good one. I bet when you booked the tickets, you thought, "Oh my god, alcohol will be required."
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I'll be honest with you. I don't like. I actually just don't like Spurs Stadium. If I'm honest, like I've seen a couple of games there.
A nightmare to get out of as well.
Well, actually, really because of where I live, it's actually easier for me to get home. It's just like it just you kind of walk down this one road for ages and then bam, you're at the stadium. At least Wembley, I kind of feel like there's kind of stuff to go and do if you want to. Do you know what I mean?
I agree. It feels more like intentionally tailgatey, doesn't it? Like there's stalls here and there's food there and there's all different sections, whereas Spurs is just
when we played at Wembley last year, did they have anything on? Because I know the couple of years they did, but they've obviously built flats everywhere these days. Obviously, we went to the pub last year, so we didn't need to.
Yeah, we didn't see as much. Because
there
did a tailgate part, but I don't know if
they had a stage with throwing games and all sorts, didn't they? And all that jazz.
But around Spurs, you've got nothing because there's literally no room around to do it.
No, and like I just can't bear to watch the Jags anymore. Like, I've been to a lot of London games over the years, and I am absolutely. I'm probably sicker of watching them than Jags fans are. So that was kind of the reason that I went. I'll just go to Spurs, and I just need to find somewhere worth drinking that isn't the pub opposite. That charges, gentlemen. That charges £10 for a pint of Foster's.
Good Lord. I wouldn't pay a third of that.
I think I might just go and buy a bottle of Brut from the local from the local chemist and just suck that off.
£10.
10.
Oh, mate, because we went in there after one of the Spurs games that we went to, and a friend of mine got around. I think it was like 4 beers and like a couple of Jaeger bombs, and the bill was like 75 quid or something like that. And, and you're just like, you are criminals. You are criminals of the highest order. So yeah. So
Despicable.
looking forward to the game. Should be good.
Good stuff.
Before we wrap it up, I just want to make one comment. I made a comment on Saints' post when they lost yesterday. Yeah. And I got a few bites from many Saints fans, and
there was a few nibbles.
Get them posted in the chat. I want to see them.
There was one on NFL UK. And I seen it and I screenshotted it just in case the guy deleted it after the game. And also because I don't like to comment on things early, right? And it was like, Coca-Cola, the drink of the Falcon, or Choca-Cola, that's what it was, right?
Nice, okay.
Which to be fair, right? Okay, fine, fair enough.
It's actually quite witty.
So I think it was about 3.5 seconds after the Cougs kick had gone through the posts. I had to search through my NFL meme archive and found the Blue Dat one. And I just put, keep chatting, my guy. And to be fair, because I do usually post other stuff to Saints fans, which never really goes down very well. But I to be fair to the guy, he was quite gracious. You
got to respect that. You have to respect that. That's good.
But I keep receipts, so I couldn't not go back to it.
Lovely stuff. There was tons. I think we had a bonkers number of interactions yesterday. Cal kept putting bait out, and then people were just gobbling it up. It was ridiculous. Right, jump in the comments for one final time, and we will call it a night. DB, thank you very much for watching. We have noticed your comments all through the night, so we hope we involved you enough and got enough of them up. If anyone from America is still watching us, we are ATL Falcons UK. We have been going for 5 years now, 4 or 5 years. We're from all over the UK. We all met because of this, minus me and Carl that went to school together. And we just love talking ball. We basically do a show pretty much every Monday night after the games, excluding the games that are on different days. And yeah, we just waffle football, treat it like therapy, always celebrate together. We do our own merch. If you love us, loads and loads and loads. Cal, underneath me, is sporting the delightful cap, also available in snapback. Mark is sporting a delightful personalised mug, so you can put your name and number on it and still have our logo. And Liam down there is sporting a red hoodie, which is also available in white and black. You can put your initials on it. You can put your badge on it. You can just have our hat on the back. You can have the full logo on the back. He's like an air hostess. I'm going to click it because I love it.
Just in case people are wondering where the back is.
Lovely stuff. Christy, I'm going to be honest, I'm not too sure when our show falls this week. We do struggle with Friday and weekend shows, so we might have to wait. We will let you all know on X.
Oh, is it a Friday game?
No, Thursday night.
It's Thursday night.
Oh,
it's literally the quick turnaround, yeah.
Oh, I'm off work on Friday.
Oh, he's going to watch it. Lovely stuff. Yeah, Christy, we will try our best. We usually have to double check all of our schedules because some of us work shifts and jazz like that, so we don't always just get lucky dips. We'll do our best to get it turned out as quickly as possible because we like to give you all time to watch it. Over 320 people have been watching at some point tonight on and off, and that is absolutely mind-blowing. We started these shows, and no word of a lie, we were getting like 2 or 3 viewers and one of them would be my missus, or my other would be my dad. And I was just grateful that we could even sit and talk ball. And the fact that we get to do this together, and from last season to this season, honestly, we've like tripled in live viewings. So thank you for everyone that joins us live. If you didn't and you're only just catching us now, you can watch it all back. You can listen to it all back. It will all be there. Mark, do you want to tell them where it's going to be?
He's going to get the gear on.
I need some like wait music,
Costume
like some
change.
countdown music.
This best not cut out mid goal. Get it done quick.
Yeah, that's a very fair point, Liam.
All right, go on,
guys. If you're catching us for the first time, if you're seeing us on the socials, we are on all platforms. ATL Falcons UK. You'll find most of our interactions on Twitter. You can watch this back on YouTube, or if you prefer the audio version, we are on all podcasting platforms, so Apple Music, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast.
I love it every single time. It's just not the same if it wasn't done like that. No, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for watching. Whether you're a day one or you're new to us, we really appreciate it. Follow us on all the socials, different content on them all, and we will catch you next week. And hopefully we will be the 3-2 Falcons. See you all next time.